So today we're going to be discussing the two sides of God, the two versions of God that we have nowadays, that have always been actually, the two versions of God. But before I begin proper with today's topic, I need to clarify. This is going to be part of a series. I have tried to teach this thing, but I see that there is no way I can teach it all at once. There are many complicated parts that need to be explained individually before you can understand the whole thing in context. So because of that, I'm going to split it into many parts so I can explain some of those other facets. But then we'll now get to where we're actually going. So to make you understand, first of all, this is going to be a very unfamiliar take, a very, very different take on a very familiar story. So there's going to be a very, very high tendency for you to assume that you know where I'm going or what the story is about. You do not. And I'm not trying to be condescending, but just please be patient. If you should take a single part that you understand and go and add it to what you already know, you'll get it wrong. You'll get it wrong. So please, in fact, I would say I'm not looking for views or stuff like that. If you know you are not patient enough to watch the whole thing, just leave it alone. Just skip it and go and do something else, because you will misunderstand the point. You most definitely will misunderstand the point. That's why I told you it's not just about the story. There are many things I have to explain before you can even understand the story. It does not correlate to what we already know. What we already know contradicts it, and that is why what we know doesn't work. I'm trying to show you why it doesn't work. So please do not take one part of the story and run away with it. Just be patient. If you can't be patient, leave it alone. When you are ready, you can come back. When other people are listening to it and tell you, oh, that thing actually made sense, and then you have enough reason to be patient to listen to it, then you can come back and listen to it. But I advise you not to not to hear one thing that clicks with you and then go off. So that being said, two versions of God, the two sides of God. To understand this, you must understand that when God creates anything, He creates the illusion of it, the actual version, and the actual version. Let me not complicate it more. Let's just use two. There are actually three levels, but let's just work with two extremes: the illusion and the actual, the illusion and the real thing. So that illusion is the impostor, and then the real thing. So with God, like with God too, He has the actual God and then the illusion of God. So actually, to make things okay, yeah, I don't know. I just feel I should say it. The illusion of God is actually the Satan. People think Satan is the opposite of God, but Satan is actually the illusion of God. So Satan looks enough like God to deceive you and to convince you that he is God when he actually isn't. He has enough few spectacular characteristics that give you that impression, but he isn't. So when you are dealing with Satan, that's who you are actually dealing. You are dealing with someone that looks like God, not someone that is contrary to God, not someone that is the opposite of God. You're not dealing with the opposite of God. You're dealing with a look-alike of God. Just like on earth, Apple's greatest problem, or any proper company's greatest problem, any company has a reputation, their greatest problem is the imitation versions. They don't have a problem with their competition because everybody already prefers them. They are the preferred brand. So their problem is the one that are those other people from China or wherever that make products and use their name, put their labels on it, even though it's not them. So now people that are looking for them end up going to this person, and then there is a lot of confusion, there's a lot of problems. So your greatest enemy is not your opposite, it's not even your competition, it's actually your lookalike. That is the greatest problem. Because now they're not just taking people, if you have a competition, it means those people that are going there, they want to be there. They know what they are doing. They are not with you. But when you have an impostor, even your own people will be taken away from you. People that are actually actively looking for you will be taken away from you. And when you go and say, hey, I'm the actual one, they will have a problem. They will not think you are the fake. So that is the real problem. So with God too, there is this issue. So There's the impostor version of God, and then there's the real version of God. And then, to make matters worse, in this our age, is the impostor version I've been exposed to. Is the impostor version that we know when we describe God. I know I begin to get into treacherous waters, and people are beginning to say, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" God is very real to me. I know that is not what makes him fake. That is not the problem. Yeah, especially for those that have experience with the Spirit. The problem is, let me fundamentalize it. The impression we have of God, of being this all-powerful being, that is not what God is, and that is not what is required to be God. Having power is not what makes you God. What makes you God is the righteousness, is the nobility, is the character. Having power and being able to do what you want is the essence of a bully. It's not the essence of God. You have met bullies that are more powerful than you, and they can do whatever they want, whether it is right or wrong. Do you think that person is holy? Do you think that person is noble? Would you say that person is godlike? Would you say that person is godly? So it is the same thing. That essence, that fundamental nature is how you know, how you spot. It doesn't matter if the person is in heaven or is dressed in white. If he does that, he is of the same nature. It will still not be palatable to you. So someone being able to do whatever he wants, having the power to do whatever he wants, does not make him God, does not make him holy. It makes him powerful, yes, but it does not make him holy, does not make him righteous. If anything, it makes him a criminal. That is the nature of a bully. You see it in dictators, you see it in difficult bosses. Do you look up to those people? Do you have any? Are they noble? Do you in any way, shape, or form plan to worship them, or do you resist them? Are you drawn to them? Yes. So that definition of God, that idea of God, of being this all-powerful being that can make things happen, he can bless the wicked and punish the righteous, or do whatever he can do and undo, that is not the essence of God. The essence of God is actually the accountability, is actually the limitation to only doing what is right, only doing what is supposed to be done, only doing what is helpful. That is the essence of God. That is the nature of God. That is what makes God God. That is the God that will yield you the results. When you have an experience with that God, then you feel like you have actually met God, because everything he does will be actually unquestionable. The version of God we have now, the things that he does are questionable, but you can't question him because you don't have the power to do anything about it, to do anything against him. But this one is unquestionable on a moral level. When you check it, there's nothing wrong with anything he has done. Every single thing he has done, he can justify. So it is that accountability that is the actual God, the accountable one. So if anything, and this is where we begin to have the confusion, the illusion, it is God that is in chains, because God is chained to righteousness. He's chained to only he's supposed to be chained to only doing what is supposed to be done, only doing what is fair, what is proper. And then the devil is one that has the license, just like you see on earth. Power hungry people. License is the man that, because he has the power to rape you, he does. And the righteous man is one that, even though he has the power to rape you, he chooses not to. So righteousness is the limitation. It is not the expansion. It is not the license to do whatever you want. Right? The righteous man, the godly man, is the one that limits himself, chains himself. I can do this, but I will not. He's very limited in his options. He can steal from you. The money is right there with him. He has access. He knows about computers. He can steal from you if he wanted to, but he will not. And the one that can do anything and does anything, there's nothing godly about him. So I think I've hit the point enough. I think it's clear enough. So that is who God is. These are the two versions of God. So the powerful one is the illusion. The powerful one, the spectacular one. The real God is actually practical. Right? So you can justify everything he's doing, everything he does. He gives accounts. He's accountable. Everything he does, you can see why he did. And when he explains it to you, it makes sense on why he did it and what it is going to produce. And why that was the best way to have gone about it. You will see it. Then the other one just does what he wants and nobody can question him. There's nothing holy about that. It is powerful, but it is not holy. It is not noble, which means it is not high. And God is supposed to be the most high, the most excellent, the maximum possible, the most ideal version of a thing, the most ideal way to do it. That is who God is supposed to be. That is the holiness. He's faultless. You cannot fault anything he has done. So, That is the version of that is so the accountable one is the right version of God, and the unaccountable one is the illusion of God. And he himself, even for the religious people, for Christians, Muslims, or whoever is looking for God, even when you come to him, he starts you off on the illusion version. And if you are faithful, he will correct you and show you why that one is wrong and how you can get it right, how to fix it. The reason why most religious people do not break out of the illusion version of God is because they were not faithful. I'll explain other things as we go along. That I told you, do not run. Just be patient. There are many things. There are many things. So calm yourself down. It's a journey. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Why they can't understand it is because they are not being faithful. They are faithful when it's convenient and unfaithful when it's inconvenient. So let that just be a foundation. I'll explain it as we go further. For now, let that just be a foundation for where we are heading to. So I'm tired of making those introductions. My name is Funom Zock-Sock, and the YouTube channel is so I can teach God's side of the story. And it's nice to meet you. We'll continue tomorrow.